The Hurom H400 versus the Kuvings REVO830. Which one is best? Go with which one should you buy? We're gonna be answering all of those questions, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one is right for you. So we gotta kick off this review starting with the parts. The Hurom H400 and the REVO830 are sort of complete opposites here. The H400 comes in this sort of like rectangular, slim, compact form factor. It is heavy, it is tall, but on the other hand, the REVO830 is much bulkier. We have two feed chutes here, so one is for celery and carrots, the other one is for whole apples, pears, oranges. When looking at the augers, the auger on the REVO830 has a chopping mechanism built in, so when you're feeding it celery or carrots, it'll go ahead and just do the slicing and dicing for you. And the Hurom H400 actually has a set of blades at the bottom of the hopper which chop your fruits and vegetables all at once. The hopper on the H400 is 100 times more convenient because you can just load up your produce and then just walk away from the machine. Meanwhile, you have to stand next to the REVO830 and feed it celery stalks or carrots one by one. I got so used to how easy it was to juice with the H400 that when I went back to using the REVO830 with celery stalks, it just frustrated the heck out of me. So another difference between these two machines is the augers. The Hurom H400 has something called a multi-screw auger, which you can pull apart into two pieces and not only presses the fruits and vegetables, but also separates the juice from the pulp. Whereas like the REVO830 has an auger which presses the fruits and vegetables and then forces it through a stainless steel juicing screen so that you can separate juice from pulp. The juicing screen on the REVO830 is going to be much harder to clean than on the H400 because all you have to do is just rinse this thing. There's no scrubbing, there's no mess, there's none of that. So while the juicing screen on the REVO830 does a better job of filtering out the pulp from your drink, I found that it wasn't that noticeable between these two. Now what we're going to do is a side-by-side comparison so you can see how quick and easy it is to assemble both of these juicers. For the Kuvings REVO830, it took about 40 seconds to put together. And for the Hurom H400, it took about 12 seconds to assemble in total. Now, I did use an old clip that I had from a year ago where I was doing a lot of thumbs up here, so it's probably less than 40 seconds, but you get the idea. And just think about how much easier it is to stick to juicing when you can assemble your juicer in about 12 seconds. So I'm giving this point to the Hurom H400. But now we gotta talk about the weight and the size because these two machines are pretty bulky and tall. The Hurom H400 weighs about 14.8 pounds, while the REVO830 is about 16.5 pounds. That's almost 2 pounds heavier. And like I mentioned before, these are both pretty tall. They will fit underneath your kitchen cabinets, but depending on your setup, it's looking like a close call. I mean, my kitchen is small as heck, and if they can fit under my kitchen cabinets, they could probably fit under yours too. Like I mentioned before, neither of these are very portable because the Hurom H400 has less parts and is easier to put together. I think we're gonna go ahead and give this one the W. Next up, we gotta talk about the noise, right? So whether you're a night owl or you're an early bird, you don't want to wake up your cranky partner or crying baby because your juicer is too loud. Nobody needs that unnecessary stress in their life. So what I did was I measured out the noise levels on each of these juicers. The H400 hovers around 60 decibels on average, while the Kuvings REVO830 can hover around 59 to 60 decibels as well. The average blender is about 100 decibels plus, which the difference on this one isn't very much. So I'm just going to go ahead and call it a tie here. Oh, one more thing. I'm not sponsored by any company. Nobody's sliding me envelopes of cash to sweet talk these products like the other influencers. It's just me bringing you real unbiased reviews paid from by my own pocket, which means if this video helps you in any way, use the links in the description below because not only will you get the best discount available on the internet, but I sometimes get a commission at no extra cost to you, which is a win-win for the both of us. Now back to the video. Now for the moment of truth, right? So you want to find out which one gives you the better juice yield. So what I did was I made sure to measure out the same amount of ingredients that were identical for both juicers, and to accurately assess the juice yield, I picked 4 pieces of produce to measure. These are going to be our benchmarks: celery, ginger, oranges, and leafy greens. What we'll do is we'll set up a split screen so you can see how each of these juicers perform. For celery, I measured out 6 ounces for each machine. Let's start by loading up the H400 with some celery and then letting it rip. The blades move around in a sweeping motion, chopping the celery into smaller pieces. Looking at the bird's eye view, there's some stringy pieces getting wrapped around the blades, but it's not too bad. Now let's look at the Kuvings REVO830. We'll start by loading it up with some celery. I'm gonna have to use both chutes here just because of how annoying it is. Turns out it's a really slow and manual process because you need to wait for the auger to chop through each stalk compared to the H400, where you can just load it all up once. And it looks like there's a piece of celery that's already stuck in the feed chute. After pushing it down, it still didn't really work the way I hoped for. Like I mentioned before, I've had this machine for a year, so this doesn't really happen that often, but yeah, check that out. Not good. Looks like more celery is getting wrapped around the auger too. 2. Time to pour out the H400, and we got 132 milliliters of celery juice for the Hurom H400. And time to pour out the REVO 830. I'll just tip the machine to make sure we're getting the max amount of juice as possible. And for the REVO 830, we were able to squeeze out 107 milliliters of juice. Here's the squeeze test on the Hurom H400, and here's the squeeze test on the REVO 830. So many more drops came out of the pulp on the REVO, so it looks like the Hurom does a better job here with celery. On to ginger. For ginger, I'll measure out 1.3 ounces for each juicer. Next, I'll dump both ingredients inside the hopper and the chute. We'll start with the H400. So this one is a bit tricky, right? Because the hopper really shines when you layer it with multiple ingredients. Let me show you what I'm talking about from a bird's eye view. You can see at the top that there's pieces of ginger getting swept around until they finally make their way through the hole into the juicing chamber. Now we're gonna look at the Kuvings REVO 830. Let's flick the switch, and there you go. It made quick work of ginger. So we've got 21 milliliters of ginger juice for the Hurom H400, and for the REVO 830, we were able to squeeze out about 30 milliliters of ginger juice. Here's the squeeze test on the Hurom H400, and here's the squeeze test on the REVO 830. Ooh, this is actually like considerable difference. The H400 was bone dry compared to the REVO. Next up, we're gonna measure out some oranges. We used 8.5 ounces here. So it's pretty cool to see the oranges getting swept around inside the hopper. As you can see, they are much softer, and we can see the same thing sort of like happening where it takes a little bit of time to juice it. Where with the REVO 830, you just drop it in and it makes quick work of it. So that turned into 162 milliliters of OJ for the H400, and for the REVO 830, we were able to squeeze out about 150 milliliters. This is the squeeze test on the Hurom H400, and here's the squeeze test on the REVO 830. So it looks like both of them are as dry as it gets. For leafy greens, I use about 2 ounces, which is about an entire half bag. Kind of blows my mind. Let's flick both machines on and see what happens. So we got about 28 milliliters of green juice with the H400, and for the REVO 830, we were only able to squeeze out about 13 milliliters. This is the squeeze test on the Hurom, and this is the squeeze test on the REVO 830. The pulp seems more dry and compact on the H400, and for the final scorecard for both of these machines, it looks like the Hurom H400 outperforms it in every category except for ginger. Okay, for this next part, you're not gonna wanna miss it because we wanna see how quickly we can clean both of these machines. Let's throw some time on the clock and see how fast we can get it done. I was able to clean the Hurom H400 in 1 minute and 6 seconds. And for the REVO 830, that took me about 1 minute and 33 seconds. Which means if you don't want to spend tons of time cleaning your juicer, the H400 makes a lot more sense here. So because the Hurom H400 is the faster machine to clean, I'm gonna go ahead and give the point to the Hurom. All right, so we gotta talk about it. Which one should you buy? The Hurom H400 or the Kuvings REVO 830? Well, on paper, you can see that the H400 came out on top, but of course that doesn't tell you the full story. I've owned the REVO 830 for 1 year now, and initially I fell in love with it, but things have changed, and they've changed dramatically. Like, technology has evolved and these juicers are becoming more and more innovative. So I think the Hurom H400 is better in almost every single way. And yes, the Hurom H400 does make a slightly pulpier drink, but after putting these to the test, the H400 beats the REVO 830 in just about every category. So as of right now, this one seems like a no-brainer. For the exact price, you can get a machine with a higher juice yield, simple parts, and is much faster to clean. I'll leave a link in the description for whichever juicer you decide to go with. By clicking on this link, you'll be able to get a discount for either machine.